Hey everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Happy New Year! First and foremost, I just want to apologize for my voice. I'm getting over a particularly nasty head cold and I'm still really congested even though it's been 2 weeks, so please excuse that. I'm also probably going to get out of breath while I'm talking because this is kind of a long video. So anyways, for the new year, I decided to do something different and I ordered a dotted notebook from Archer and Olive. All of my other books, the full ones at least, are from the Lloydstrom, is it 1912? I can't remember. Anyways, they've all been from the same brand, so this is the first time that I'm branching out and getting something different. And the reason I'm doing so is because they had the Blackout journal. So obviously all the pages are black with like gray dots on them, and that's a huge change from the cream paper that I'm used to. What I really liked about this journal specifically was that there was a skull on the front and it had the black pages. So Archer and Olive, I believe, is one of the only notebook companies that has a Blackout journal, and I've heard great things about them, which is why I chose to go with them. So they have this cute little charm on the divider strings. There's a nice big pocket in the back for you to put stuff in. There's a pen holder, and overall the book just feels very nice. The paper's super thick. It has this cool holographic reflective print on the sides as well as like the inside cover, and of course the pages are black, which is what I wanted. Now, because this is a new challenge for me, I decided to swatch all of the markers that I was hoping were going to work with this. So I have my Posca pens that I hadn't used pretty much up until this point, minus the white. I did use that on my Christmas ornaments, but that's beside the point. And then I bought the Stadler, however you say that, and King Art metallic pens. And of course I have my trusty Jelly Roll Sakura pen that is old and crusty, and I'll need a new one coming up here soon. But without further ado, let's get into the actual setup for 2024. Every year I like to take spreads that I liked from the previous year and recreate them or switch them out for ones that I think would be really cool that I'd like. So this year, as you can see with my 2024 calendar spread here, is significantly different from last year. Last year I did a Dutch door, which was okay, but the paper in the other notebooks is much thinner, so Dutch doors are a little bit more flimsy. If I were to do one with this notebook, I think it would work a little better just because it is like 160 GSM paper. Now, I decided to keep the majority of the layouts for the yearly stuff in this like black and white or like grayscale, just to keep everything more consistent, and then I wouldn't have to choose like a focal color. If I were to choose a focal color, it probably would have been blue or copper. As you can see, kind of poking out the back there are my own fill-in-the-blank bullet journals. They actually happen to be the perfect size for being a little support while I did the stuff on the left side of the page, so that was really nice. I will talk a little bit more about them the further we get into this. So this year I chose this setup. Every single spread that I either referenced or straight up copied, I will link in the description down below. They're all from Pinterest because that's where I spend like half my life, or I guess half my free time. I spend the other half in the operating room because that's where I work now. But anyways, this and the next spread are two that are brand new to me. I've been doing a lot more reading recently, and I wanted to have a place to write down, or I guess like track how many books that I was reading. I use the Kindle app, and I don't know if that actually tracks like the number of books that I read, and I like to write things down in more than one place anyways. I have like 3 calendars, so this is just, you know, an ode to me tracking things in multiple places. So I've made a whole bunch of different books, and then I've added all these cool little knickknacks into the bookshelf and made them into a little pop of color so that not everything's grayscale. And as I go through the year, I will write in the books that I read into the bookshelf. Oh, excuse my head popping in there, my God, okay. And then the next page, which you will see in a little bit, is my 5-star reads tracker. And I wasn't originally planning on putting that in there, but once I saw it, I was like, okay, I absolutely have to, because I want to memorialize the books that were my favorite. What I did read in 2023 that I'm going to write in the 5-star book tracker anyways was Butcher and Blackbird. Oh my goodness, that book was fantastic. I loved it so much, and I'm so excited for the new or the next book to come out in the series. I can't remember what it's called, but the cover, fantastic. The plot, loved it. Oh my God. Anyways, so that's what the next spread's gonna be. It's like an open book. When I showed my mom, she was like, wow, it's kind of like it's 3D. So that was cool. Somewhere in here, I also have an area for like planning stuff for my business, which I'm gonna now talk about that a little bit. So like I said, my fill in the blank bullet journals are kind of off to the left there, and they're providing support while I fill this out. But I will insert some clips if I can of what mine look like. I have the 2024 version, which is dated for this year. And then I have an undated version as well, which you can start at any point in time and just write in whatever dates you want. You could start in the middle of the year and use the second half of the journal for 2024, and then just continue using it and use the front half for 2025 if you wanted to. And that's the beauty of the undated journal. It is not too late to get a 2024 journal because it's a print on demand type deal. If you want one, I can print it, and you don't have to start right away just because it's a 2024 journal. But anyways, these are my passion projects that I've spent so much time on, and I love them so much. I have them available on my Etsy for purchase if you are interested in getting your own. All of the themes are already drawn out for you, so that's why it's called a fill in the blank bullet journals, because you literally just fill in the blank. So it doubles as not only a bullet journal but also a coloring book and a place for you to keep all of the parts of your life organized in one place. So like I said, they're available on my Etsy if you want to get one. It would mean the absolute world if you did, and thank you to everybody who has already supported me in that venture. I will be releasing some new products hopefully very soon in time for Valentine's Day. So without further ado, let's keep going. So I have my art goals bingo board. I have my art goals bingo board from last year, and unfortunately I did not get a bingo. I'm very close in a couple rows, but I did not get a bingo. So I'm hoping to carry over some of those goals into this bingo board. And then across from it, I have my Savopoly. I really liked it from last year. It's like a lot of work to draw out all the little Monopoly things, but it's a fun way to determine how much I'm gonna save each week. Now I have the fantastic position that I'm in to be able to save money every week, and I know that's not the case for everybody, but that's why I chose to put this in my bullet journal, just so that I could randomly decide how much I wanted to save each week. So I kind of skipped through a lot of this. Oh look, there's my journals again. And I think it's because it was so tedious and like waiting for things to dry. That was something I didn't really think about when I was like, oh yeah, I'll just use these markers. Markers take a lot longer to dry, the paint ones, than regular water-based or alcohol markers. So if you too have a Blackout journal, the dry time is kind of extensive. You will see by the color of my sleeves that we went through multiple days of me doing this. So anyways, the theme for January is like 80s retro. I believe Amanda Rach Lee did this theme like 2 or 3 years ago, and I'm really slow to hop on the train, but the reason that I wanted to do this was because I was like, those colors are gonna look banging with the black background. So, and they do. I'm really happy with it. So the calendar and all of the line art I just kept really simple with the white gel pen, and then all of the shapes were either yellow, pink, or light blue. Now you will notice that there's a bunch of different like cuts and whatnot, and that's because me drawing shapes is kind of repetitive and boring. I do show you kind of the process I went through for coloring them later, but for the most part it's all the same, so there's a lot of that missing from the footage. This is a long enough video as is. For the habit tracker, I have significantly more habits than normal, and that's just because that's how many fit here. I'm not very good at using the habit trackers, so I'm hoping that this year will be different. And then my mood tracker is just a whole bunch of random shapes to color in, which I think will be fun. Now, you may notice as well with the cuts that the colors appear different, and that's because I had to do multiple coats. So I'm definitely kind of having beef with the yellow Posca marker because, you know, my assumption, these are acrylic paint pens. I thought that they were going to be extremely opaque, even on the black paper, and unfortunately the yellow one really decided to test my limits, I guess. Sometimes I had to do up to like 3 coats for some of the yellow ones, which is, although this is thick paper, it was really starting to like warp the paper a bit. So there is that. For the most part, the pink and the blue were okay. The more paint that came out of the pen at once, the easier it was. But for whatever reason, the only thing that was like consistent was my Jelly Roll pen and then some of the metallic brush pens from earlier, but I didn't use any of the metallic ones in this weekly setup, so that was, couldn't really put those to the real test. As you can see now, I'm fighting with the Jelly Roll one. So really it was a lot of fighting with markers, and that's why this took multiple days and to account for the drying time. So here is a more thorough kind of walkthrough of how I chose to put the colors where they were. I just went by color. So usually I started with yellow because it took the most coats, and then I would just go through and fill in all the places that I thought yellow would look nice, and then I did the same thing with pink and blue. And that's literally exactly what I did for every single spread. So this spread is one of my own. I believe it debuted first in a June 2021 setup, maybe? I can't remember exactly, but I thought that the multiple lines around the boxes would look really nice with this like 80s theme, kind of retro shapes deal, and it does look nice. And then there's a couple spreads in here that I believe Amanda Rach Lee had in her bullet journal, and then one random one from somebody else online that I thought was really cool and I wanted to do myself. So as you can see, it's just a lot of coloring in the shapes and fighting with the markers, and apparently my head getting in frame. I think what really tripped me out with this was that the markers were a little bit reflective when they were drawing, so I had a harder time seeing if I'd already colored in that place. So that's why I had to bend over the paper a little bit more. This spread I thought was interesting. It kind of reminds me of the comic book one that I did a few years ago in February, just with the triangle shapes. It was a lot more difficult to draw the triangles than I thought it was going to, but it ended up working out. This spread here is one of my favorites. It would definitely lend itself well to a neon sign type of theme, which I'm thinking of doing a little bit later. I just like that the boxes are colored, and then of course I have my different neon shapes. What I didn't realize was that I have pink shapes over the blue boxes, blue shapes over the yellow boxes, and then yellow shapes over the pink boxes. I did not intend for that to happen, but it worked out that way anyways. Now you can see that I'm really fighting with that yellow pen. So the yellow shapes are not fully opaque. No matter what I did, I could not get them to be fully opaque, but they're as solid as they're gonna get. I really loved this one as well. I believe this one and the last spread are both from Amanda Rach Lee specifically, and I wanted to recreate them. So I like just the freedom that abstract shapes gives you in how you can incorporate them into layouts, but I really didn't have a creative, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, like a burst of creative energy to plan my own themes, because as you can tell, I'm sick, and I've said that I've been sick for the last 2 weeks. So, you know, TMI, my snot-filled brain is just not connecting the creative dots here, but that's okay. That's why other people's spreads make good reference and inspiration, and I always give credit to those that I reference from. So this is the final spread. There was 5 weeks for me to do in January, and then we will go into our final flip through. I really love the way that this turned out. I just love the bright colors and the neon shapes, and who knew the 80s could be so cool? Just kidding. And without further ado, here's the final flip through. You can see how beautiful the holographic is, and that is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. Like I said before, my fill-in-the-blank bullet journals are available for purchase on my Etsy store, which I will also link in the description down below. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you all in the next video.